The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter. The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter. The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter. The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Everyone, welcome to Leadership Podcast. It is yet another edition of The Big Issue. And of course, as usual, I'm your regular host, George Agba is my name. And of course, with me in the studio, our in-house analyst, we have Silas Eze Ogu. Welcome. And Chibuzo Okaibe. Thank you. And of course, the big issue for the day is Cross River lawmakers. As fear grips the Decampee governors, as Judiciary holds the ace. Well, anxiety has enveloped the country's political landscape following the verdict of a federal high court, Abuja, on Monday, which declared the seats of 20 lawmakers from Cross River State vacant over their defection from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressive Congress. Justice Taiwo, in a judgment, dismissed the defense argument that the PDP, who is the plaintiff, had no local standing to institute the case. Justice Taiwo ruled that the argument of the lawmakers that there was rancor in PDP, which necessitated their defection to APC, was a ploy to mislead the court. The judge, who granted all the relief sought by the PDP, held that it was disheartening that politicians in the country treat citizens as if they do not matter once they get into office. According to him, we cannot continue in sin and expect grace to abound. And of course, 2 House of Representative members and 18 members of the Cross River State House of Assembly were affected by the judgment. The court, in the judgment that was delivered by Justice Taiwo, held that the lawmakers, having abandoned the political party that sponsored them, ought to vacate their seats. 2 members of the House of Representatives are Michael Etaba and Honorable Lego Idagbo. Well, this is a clear scenario of what happened in the case of Ebonyi State, where the governor was sacked by a court for defecting from the PDP to the APC. So, what we are seeing here, I think the Judiciary has taken a bold step. And people are saying if the PDP succeeds in recovering their mandate to make our democracy stronger and politicians will no more act foolishly. What do you think?
think it's a new development in our body policy. We are beginning to see different sides to the maybe not so new chapter, but a new dimension to this whole discourse on defection and the handling or mishandling of people's mandates on the one hand, and how party politics should or ought to be. It's a good development to the degree that it has generated some conversation around this in your problem system. So we hope to see how far reaching, this conversation is going to be, so that doesn't get swamped in the discussion of 2023.
2023 and the rest. Well, we are even expecting a guest. Barrister Kangbe is supposed to join us. So he will tell us the legal implication and whether the judgment of the lower court will scale through at the appellate level and the Supreme Court. But before he comes in, let's look at the situation on ground. At least what is happening so far is likely to reduce the gale of defection in the country. So Nigerians think, because at a point the defection by elected officials became so rampant. Politicians became prostitutes, jumping from one political party to the other. And at a point, it's as if there was no precedent set by a court. Because before, no political party thought of going to court to challenge this defection. It's now that it has come. I think ahead of the 2023 silence, the politicians will learn to stay where they are, despite any selfish interest.
Yes. Like close to that, our political structure, political system is growing gradually. And this one has been a new twist to the dimension. In the past, they got away with it, but normally how the appeal goes, okay, this is a warning that such a profligacy is tolerated going forward. These are a breed of people that just always pushing their personal interest. At a time, when they feel that interest is better served, we just abandon the mandate given to him by millions of people. Move over to that side just to pursue their own personal ambition. So the argument that if you want to move, resign for your seat, resign from the mandate they gave you. You are going alone. Because according to the constitution, the people vote based on party. You go to vote now, you don't see article of what you see APC, you see PDP, you see ABBA, you see NMBP. It's parties that presented. So it's a party that people voted for. So I'm even a bit surprised that it took this long, 22, 23 years, for us to come to this point that people are now being made to locate political offices if they are leaving the platform on which they came there. People have been clamoring for this for a long time, and just now that the judge has summoned the courage to actually give this kind of ruling, and I know it will send shockwaves down the spine of these people that look, and other people have done that kind of thing. We're now going to fret that some other people, may begin to go to court to challenge their positions, and they can quickly cite this case as the precedent, on which they will now use it to challenge those who have abandoned their mandate, for another party. So it's interesting to see, and a lot of the political, landscape is, fraught with a lot of wishy-washy things. Possibly, this one will begin to instill some kind of sanity, order, and responsibility in the way that those who are called honorable members led to the position that are given to them by the votes. So, and it will interest going forward.
And of course, they will know the honorable members will learn not to be behaving dishonorably again.
Yes, so jumping.
Yes, the constitution says before you defect, there must be crisis in your party. In the case of Ebonyi Tibuzo, can you imagine? He defected to APC in search of a presidential ticket because he told his people that he was going to APC because he wants to really actualize the Igbo presidency. Now, the presidency is not even within his reach, and now he's struggling to retain his mandate. What is the lesson for politicians in this Umahi's case?
Well, I think like Mr. Silas said, maybe they'll begin to think twice about what they do. Not allow their selfish interest, allow their reasoning. It's increasingly worrisome that people just use the party out it is one thing to talk about how people move from one point to the other, but to a large extent, if this helps also to ensure that people stay good and prevent party manifesto, I think these are also conversations that also bring how well now the holders of mandates and manifesto, custodians of manifesto, implement up against this sense of okay, now
we do anyhow I like.
It's also a wake-up call to parties and party leadership. The need for parties to be more assertive, much more bold to take on certain people and condemn certain actions. As if party leadership over 1999 has become increasingly feeble or weak in the face of executive confrontation. It becomes so weak they can't confront governors, they can't confront the president, they can't even confront the president. Unlike what we used to have.
Well, before we continue, let's just quickly take a short break and see whether our viewers will have contributions to make to shape the conversation on the big issue. Don't go offline. We'll be back in a moment.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter. The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.